Hi, everybody. Today, day 6 is what I'm going to recap. But as I'm telling you this, their closing arguments are going on, but I will recap those for you tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get a verdict today, but stranger things have happened. But I'm going to tell you all about day 6 was really interesting too, guys, because Karina Cooper took the stand. And she's got a tall tale to tell. I'll tell you all about it after you watch this introduction. Welcome back to the channel. So glad to have you guys. I need one more subscriber to get to 4,000. And I venture to say by Sunday, I will have that. I'm going to do a live on Sunday. I do a live every Sunday. But Sunday's live, we're going to have a little celebration and we'll do a giveaway, a 4,000 subscriber giveaway. So excited about that. But don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Yeah, just because we're at 4,000 doesn't mean we want to stop. We want to keep going. So what happened with Karina Cooper? She took the stand in her own defense. Now, before we get there, I have to say that we have not been able to hear any or very little argument by these lawyers outside the presence of the jury, including what would come at the end of the state's case, which is the motion for judgment of acquittal. I don't know what it's called in Iowa. Every state calls it something different, but we didn't get, if that happened, we didn't get to see it. And I'm sure it happened. I'm positive it happened. We just didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see any of the argument over jury instructions. None of that we've gotten to see, which I find interesting. So Karina Cooper takes the stand. Now, one subscriber asked, is she in jail? Is she incarcerated? She is incarcerated. And which would explain the ugly gray sweater. Yeah, and the no makeup. Although it looked yesterday like somebody threw some blue eyeshadow on her at the last second. Because she's got a female attorney. I'm like, why aren't you putting some makeup on your client? Unless she just wants her to look pitiful. Everybody feels sorry for her because I got to tell you, I was on the fence yesterday, and now I'm getting off the fence. Yeah, I'm getting off the fence because she's convincing. She's convincing, but there's some things that were pointed out on cross-examination. So she talks about meeting Ryan Cooper. They met. She born and raised in that area of Iowa, not that particular town, but that area. She met him in the summer of 2006, and they got married in 2009. I think she said September. I could be wrong about that. This was not his first marriage. Now we get an explanation of the children. Finally, he has one son from a previous marriage. Then we get the 3 children who are now. Cade is 15. What's his name? Cable is 12, and Courtney is now 8 years old. And she said that their marriage was normal, good. Like, I don't know that you can use the word normal for any marriage. I think every marriage is different. So I don't think there's any like normal. So she explained the whole finances thing. She got life insurance. She explained what she spent that on. They talked about she has 300 and where is it? $386,000 in an investment portfolio. Now, I don't know if this came from the life insurance or but it's part of Ryan's estate. When that estate settles, so apparently it hasn't settled yet. When that estate settles, it will go in trust for the kids. So she doesn't really have that, but she explained all the other assets on the farm, that they had these different shops that they set up. They build buildings on the property and they work out of these shops. one of those shops, she had her barber shop, she called it. So she also enjoyed making soap and candles, and she always wanted to try her hand at embroidery. She thought it was really cool. You know, the people had shirts that were embroidered, so she wanted to do that. So after his death, she has to leave the farm. She's no longer in that house. So she's got nowhere to go. Now, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why she had to leave that house. It's never explained to me, but she leaves the house. She finds some other places to live, but not great accommodations. And eventually her sister-in-law, Ryan's older sister, Michelle, who took the stand, who handles the farm finances, offered her a place to live, her and the kids a place to live. So she took that. The other thing, because she wasn't living on the farm anymore, she didn't have access to her barber shop. So she found a storefront in town where she opened a barber shop, but she got tired of, people coming in and out all the time asking about the murder, and she just didn't want to answer any more questions or tell the truth. So she closed that down. She rents a space from someone else, but it's not enough space for her to do hair. So she's just basically selling candles and shampoo that she makes and soap, out of this other shop. Till eventually she decides to invest in the embroidery business, and she opens a shop on her farm property. Once she gets back on the farm, she opens a shop that does embroidery, and then she makes it known that no, she did not make any money doing any of this. Everything was at a loss. When we know from past testimony that the cell phone bills were paid by the farm. That ended. She explained that it ended because her son was turning 12. They had promised him a cell phone, so she got her own plan, put herself and her son on the plan, and then wrote it off as a business expense from her shop. So then we get down to the murder, and she's pretty steadfast in her story about waking up, hearing this loud noise, thinking that it was a crash, that it was this thing in the shower caddy that fell. It had fallen earlier in the week. She thought it was that. Then, she told someone else it could have been a screen door. She didn't talk about that on the stand. She thought it was the shower caddy. She's kind of sticking to that story. And pretty much, her story's been her story all along. From the time she wakes up till discovering the body. Her story, that's part of the story, has never changed. What she told the police is that she had been sleeping. Well, unless she just got to sleep, because she had been up sexting with Houston Danker on Snapchat until the wee hours of the morning. And we're going to get into that. So here's an interesting thing. Ryan normally slept in the recliner every night. He would fall asleep to the TV. And his son, Cade, the oldest, would sleep on the couch next to him. They would both be watching TV, and they'd fall asleep watching TV. And then the two youngest would sleep with her upstairs. But she had kind of bribed him, over the summer, if you guys agree to go back to your rooms, I'll paint your rooms any color you want. And but it hadn't happened yet. So then she admits that when she drinks, she's known as a Karen. They even had T-shirts that said she was a Karen, that's. I don't know if I would be proud of that or not, but she says, yeah, when I was drinking, I turned into a Karen. She said she and her husband never laid hands on each other. I think I talked about the barber shop. Okay, talked about all that. So this thing with Houston Danker, she said she would cut his hair every so often. She would cut his hair. And he tried to keep his hair so it didn't look like he just got a haircut. So it was often that she was cutting it, or trimming it, just so it never looked drastic. And she would be flirting with him, but then it turned into sort of a, like, she would give him mom advice. She felt for him because he's a single dad, he's got kids, and she was just giving him advice about, raising the kids and stuff. But then it turned into this Snapchat online thing. She said, never had sex with the man, never a physical sexual relationship in person. It was all online. It was her fantasy. Okay. Then she said she enjoyed the attention. And she said 99.9% of this was all online. I don't know what that other 0.1% is, but yeah. So she said, yes, Houston did talk about killing Ryan Cooper, but she thought she didn't take him seriously because she said he had a history of telling tall tales to other women, and just nothing ever came of it. So she wasn't really taking him serious. She said she was terrified after the murder. She was terrified of Houston Danker. And after the murder, she stopped communicating with him altogether on Snapchat because he started threatening her, threatening her kids, her family. So this is her explanation of why she never told the police that she knew that Houston Danker had killed her husband. So, yes, this was an online fantasy. Then the last question, one of the last questions her attorney asked her, would you, with your husband, would you orchestrate a murder of your husband when all the kids are in the house? She's like, no, I would never do that. No. Okay. So then the prosecution does the cross-examination, and he points out, and he's talking very slowly. I had this on 1.75 and it sounded normal. He was just really dragging it out for the jury. So, he talked again. Cade normally slept on the couch, her oldest, with, by his dad, yes. But that night, he was upstairs. He'd gone upstairs to his room. So I thought I'm like, oh, interesting. Fun fact. Okay, then he points out that at 3 a.m. when she, because she says she woke up at midnight, go to the bathroom. The TV was still on, and she heard him snoring. She gets up at 3 a.m., TV's off, she hears him snoring. But she also sees there's no Cade there. Cade's not there. 30 minutes after that, she texts or Snapchats Houston Danker a heart emoji. And after that, they're texting again. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And at one point, he says to her, send me something after I leave your house that he can open when he gets back. What? Like, there's your smoking gun right there. Send me something that I can open after I leave your house. And then the next text from her is go. Now she says, no, that was not the last Snapchat. So her contention is a lot of this Snapchat data was gone. It was missing data, that we're just getting snippets of the data, not everything. So she said, no, she said, go to sleep, several times. All we see is go. Then at 4:42, he texts her back, Snapchats back to her saying, he just woke up. Murder's over with now. He just woke up. Yeah. So again, this prosecutor's bringing up, so after the shooting, you're terrified of this guy, but you don't tell the police that you think it's Houston Danker. No, she doesn't. And she said, she had lied for so long. She didn't she didn't know how this was going to affect her and the kids, and he kept threatening her, so she just kept it quiet. She didn't tell anybody. So then we get the defense rests their case. Her testimony is over. The defense rests their case, and prosecution has a rebuttal witness, and it's the digital forensic examiner that had already testified. She takes the stand again, and she testifies about these Snapchat messages. She said, and she was asked about the loss of data, and she said, yeah, there was some loss of data, but that go message, and then the next message is at 4:42. She said that there's nothing between that. There's one thing between that was deleted, and she doesn't know what the message was. It was something sent from, it was at 4:21. It was something sent from Karina to Houston Danker, and his response was he was just waking up. So where was it going with this? Okay, so she said it is not possible that there's missing data after the word go. In other words, go to sleep. It's not possible. She says, because if it was deleted, it would show it was deleted, as an example of that 4:21 message. So this is where the case takes this weird turn. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to mute this chat. These ladies are just yammering away here this morning. Okay. Sorry. So the judge gets the jury, and he says he's going to send them, out for 30 minutes because the lawyers need additional time to prepare their closings and finalize the jury instructions. So they come back after 30 minutes, and then he's like, change of plans. The defense has one additional witness, a SIR rebuttal. They want to put on a SIR rebuttal, and that can't happen until tomorrow. So what is a SIR rebuttal? So, in a trial, this prosecution puts on their case. Then the defense puts on their case if they want to. They don't always have to. Then the prosecution has an opportunity, if the defense puts on a case, to rebut that case. They can put on witnesses to rebut that case. And in this case, they put on the digital forensic examiner to say that it's not possible that she said go to sleep in that Snapchat. And here's my thought. If you're going to delete something, why are you just deleting to sleep? Yeah. Anyway, it's not possible, she says. So then the defense it doesn't happen often, but they can put on what's called a SIR rebuttal. They want to bring somebody in that will rebut the testimony of the prosecution's rebuttal witness. In this case, the digital forensics examiner. So this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and recap it for you, the defense trial resumed. The defense put on their SIR rebuttal, and it was a guy named Chris Lyons. He was an investigator with the public defender's office, but he is trained in digital forensics examination. And he looked very uncomfortable with everything he was testifying to. So this was kind of a last minute Hail Mary, can you come sit in this stand and help us out here? So he reviewed the phone data and the data from the iPhone 8 that Karina was using, this Snapchat. And they did a printout of what everything would look like as it comes out of the Cellbrite program that they run it through to extract the data, versus what the jury has seen so far is just like a PowerPoint presentation of the Snapchats. Here's one, here's one, here's one. This is the actual Cellbrite, where you just have lists of stuff. And besides each message is a number. All the Snapchat messages, there's a number. Beside the word go in that list, that Snapchat that says go, the number is 33897. The next message number is 33984. So he was asked, is it possible that there is missing data between 33897 and 33984? And he says, yes, that's possible. And then she ends. Then we get the prosecution to cross-examine him, and he says, are you familiar with Snapchat messages, that the numerics of the Snapchat? And he said, not really. You don't really know what they mean, do you? No. Did you know that those numbers will add up as minutes pass? So if you send a go message and nothing else afterwards, minutes are passing by and that number is going up. And he says, that's possible. Case is over. All right. I solved the case yesterday. So as I'm telling you all of this, the jury is hearing closing arguments. I'm going to listen to those, recap them for you tomorrow. I don't know. It's already noon. They're probably going to have lunch and then get started on deliberations after that. So I don't know that we'll get a verdict today. I don't know if they're going to let him stay late. I have no idea. Every jury is different. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.